your tea. Okay. So, who is WhoIAre?
WhoIAre is a Raleigh-based band. We originated, I guess, in Smithfield, North Carolina. Right now it's composed of Aaron Riley, Bernard Brown, and Katie Martin. We're just, I guess, a band of gypsies, so to speak, trying to figure things out.
Okay.
With that being said, like the beginning of it, we've had a bunch of really good drummers play with us as well. Bo being one of the first ones, Bo Helms.
Bo Helms.
And he kind of, we met on Craigslist.
Okay.
Or I put out an ad, I think. Yeah, I put out an ad on Craigslist, and it would be, ironically, 2 years from January. And I still have the email, and Bernard answered the email, and then obviously I came over to Smithfield and played with him the first time, and then it kind of grew from that. But we didn't play songs, you know, like when we first started playing. We would just play jams, and I think especially the three of us at that point, I don't think we would be a band right now if it wasn't for that first month and a half of just playing music, you know. And it was funny because like I played guitar for a while, and I played in a band in New York when I lived in Manhattan. So like I was coming from the experience of that. And Bernard, and I'm sure he can go into it, Bernard, he was more classically trained, so he had a background in that. And
out in Raleigh, and go ahead, finish.
No, if you want to go into that.
Just shout out to Bo Helms on the real. Bo is part of the genesis of why we exist today. Me and Bo would start out on the street and get ran off by the police because we didn't have the permits, different charges and different things of that nature. Out there just having a good time, wanting to play, and we started out there and we just realized it wasn't enough and we needed that lead, so we were looking for that guitar sound. Aaron, like you said, was on Craigslist, and we just found each other on there, and we had some other guys in before. Shout out to Michael Perego, shout out to Josh Ray. But like when we linked up with Aaron, it was just the right. We knew it out the gate. So.
And it's funny because we couldn't play songs. It wasn't that we didn't want to play songs. I think at that point, like, and I always got to rip on Bernard for this. We didn't have the capacity to play songs because I think that with music sometimes there's a bravado, like definitely. You know, like this is the way I do things, and you know, so it's tough to break through that first wall, and that's when, like, if you want to say like the real magic, lack for a better word, would happen. So once we started getting it, our first song that we learned was Born Royal, and it took us a month and a half to learn it. And it's one of our best songs. It's a song written by him. So that's always one of to us, it's that like cornerstone song that everything was built off of. So even yesterday, we recorded it again for the first time in 2 years, or a year and a half, and it was completely different from the time before. And that's one of the things that like Bernard and I and Katie, we put a lot of work over the last 2 years, especially because not everything always goes your way, and it's kind of like life in general. Like you always have these obstacles, and with us, I feel like these obstacles happen very often. So we're constantly tested to see like why we're doing this and what the reason is behind it. And
I say it's the rock guys. It's the rock guys like testing to see if we really got it or not.
Yeah. So I mean, even there's sometimes that I think all of us could say that we're just like, what the hell are we doing, you know? Mm-hmm. But so Katie came into it a little bit after that, and then we recorded our first EP with Derek from Raleigh Records, who's still working with us now on our new stuff.
He just helped us with our album from yesterday. He's gonna help us with the latest one coming.
So like she came into it, and she literally recorded that EP, like Coffee and Cigarettes, within 2 days of knowing us. The second day she knew us, she was like on the EP, on
the actual album. Yeah.
So it's and then from that we also played with Trey, who's from Millington, a great drummer. Doug is on the current recording, Doug Fishman.
Trey Higgins, that is, Wilmington native.
And then, you know, so that we've kind of had this evolving lineup as of the last 2 years, obviously, since we started, you know.
Okay. So exactly how did you come up with the name WhoIAre? Since we know the people, who came up with that name, or did you all just pitch in?
So I hate to just blame it on a drunk moment, but it was like a drunk moment in history where me and Bo were in the middle of a deep conversation about I don't even know what. That's how important that conversation was. And I was like, that's just who I are. Instead of saying that's who I am. And then we were already playing music by then, so I said, okay, that's the band name. We're gonna stick with that. So, but unfortunately, with that name and it being incorrect grammatically, a lot of venues continue to get our name wrong.
They'll change it, like
yes.
Like one time it was Who We Are, and you know they'll change it just a little bit to make it not obviously the same name. So we're constantly
impossible to find.
And to be honest, I didn't like it at all. I wanted to, like, I had a band name that I was always kind of like kept with me, and I wanted to use that band name, but I'll give it up to Bernard, who actually stayed firm on it. But I was fighting a little bit at the beginning, but it definitely has grown into what we are. So
yeah, I love your emblem that you have.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Shout out to Carbo.
Yeah,
Carbo Creations on Instagram.
And we met her at Emerge open mic.
Mm-hmm.
We used to go down there when we were first starting. And there's a great little community here in Raleigh, but that was a great starting point. And she was there. She volunteered to do it, and she came up with the idea itself. So like that's all on her. Then we also have Jake too. Jake's another great artist that we work with.
Another Wilmington guy, man. Knew him from high school. We have been following his artwork for a while, and we had different people try to draw Cigarette Jones out. Some people didn't put the effort in, and some people it wasn't good enough. So we have been admiring Jake's work for a while, and eventually it was like, all right, boom, let's ask the question, let's get in. So
yeah,
Jake is a beast, man. He gets it done in like 2 days, and I mean, and he still got side projects going on. Incredible artist. So shout out Jake Becerra, shout out Carbo Creations.
Okay, and so you said that you were trained in music. Exactly. So tell me all about that.
Well, from sixth grade to 12th grade, thanks to the public school system, North Carolina public school system, I did orchestra and played the stand-up double bass for what would be 6 years. Unfortunately, my last year I had a teacher I didn't like, and I allowed her to just kill my buzz. So last semester I said, that's it, I'm not coming back no more. And I didn't pick up an actual electric bass until 3 years ago. I was playing guitar for a while.
So you said it's been 3 years. Well, it had been 3 years at that moment.
Playing the electric bass.
Correct.
Long since I hadn't played the electric bass for years, for a while, because I didn't have a double bass at all once I graduated. Those double basses are really expensive, so I picked up a guitar. My boy Money Mace, shout out Mace McCoy. He traded me my first guitar. Unfortunately, we can talk, right?
Yeah.
He gave me my first guitar for $1,000 of the mid-grade. So he gave me my first one, and ever since then, I was interested in like playing.
Okay. All right. And so you said that you used to be in a band in New York. Tell us about that. Did you create that band or?
Oh no, I played with, I had a friend that was from, I'm from Syracuse, New York originally. Actually Baldwinsville, New York, but I had a friend that moved down to New York at that point, and he was living in Manhattan as well, and his name was Brett Edelman. And we had a band named Star Charles. And like some of the songs that, when we first started playing, I first started playing with this band, so there were some of the songs that I used when we first came in for songs for us to learn, and there's some of the songs in our repertoire and all that. And so yeah, it was an original band, and we played a couple covers. It wasn't anything good, and I think for me personally at that point, I didn't practice. I thought that you could just like take the guitar and go up on stage and just be able to be like some kind of rock god.
A hero out
Yeah,
the gate,
so like I didn't take any time in my personal life to actually practice. So like we weren't very good. We were really shitty, and at that time I didn't have a lot of confidence at that time. So it was a good experience. It was fun, but it kind of that was probably like 8, 9, 10 years ago. So I didn't play music up until probably 4 years ago again. So like when I came down here in North Carolina, I wanted to. One of my goals was to start a band.
So since then that was part of your goal as well. When you all came together to create this band, what has been your ultimate goal as a whole?
I think that Bernard and I have a little different views on this, because B's very like one of the reasons that we work so well. I think the two of us in particular is the fact that I'm a little bit more pragmatic and even keeled, and like I believe hard on like especially now because of the last experience, that discipline as far as my practicing, changing things up a little bit, all that stuff. I really pay attention to these little details. Where Bernard is a little more emotional, and he's got he's like I always said that he's the heart and I'm the head as far as the band, and he's a little emotional, so we'll have different viewpoints.
Passionate about shit, like
and emotional, but like
I can't be.
And then except when I am, and when
it comes in art. So
Yeah,
you need it.
Except when I am, and when I am, it's usually kind of uglier. But so my views of this, my goal, especially with what we just did, and part of the reason today's a big day is that we just finished a full 12 or 11 song album, and it's done. Besides these little things that we want to fix up, so the last 4 months to me were huge, because that was one of my biggest goals. Was I want to be 65 years old and look back at something that I did and be extremely proud of it. And the work that Bernard and I put out and Katie put into it over the last 2 years, it needed to have a cap. It needed to have a step. And that was my first goal. Okay, we need the step because I think it's something we could always be proud of. The next step for me, as far as like, I just like, this is such an outlet for me that I just want to have fun with it. And I don't personally care if a year down the road, and I'll be honest with you, it blows up, because the experience itself has been such a worthwhile journey. So like that's my goal as far as where we're going and what we're doing. I just love playing in front of people, and I want to get better, not only in my personal life but also in my ability to release myself in art, because my head is my biggest enemy, and like I do overthink. So I want to lose myself in this more and more and more, and then take the results that come from that.
And any musical inspirations that have inspired you all as a group or personally?
Any musical inspirations? I mean, it gets weird, man. I've always been a music head. My parents put me on. I like listening to a lot of great things, but it's so wide, man. I mean, 70s rock. I love. Jeez,
There's a lot.
Just a bunch. As far as like who inspired me for the music that I play, I guess, man, I love James Brown a lot. I mean, just the classics, man. I love Whitney Houston. The way that she sings, that she like just propels or projects her voice, I think is unique. You know, I mean, my man from Anthony from Red Hot Chili Peppers, I love that band, and there's a lot of different things. Like those probably are some of the main influences, so to speak. But
And I think that kind of works for us is we're both coming from completely different. Like I'm like grown up hippie, and I've always been a hippie. So like I'm in the jam bands and all that stuff, where he's in more of a different similar. I like his stuff he listens to, but he just is inspired by different things. So I think the two of those coming together kind of worked, you know.
Okay. If there was a sound that, for as far as people who don't know who WhoIAre is,
this is a question that I want. Like I really, even for you, I want you to come and just like take a night in of us playing, because I don't know. I don't want to.
You basically have come up with your own sound.
I don't.
And that's good. That's good. I feel like that's something that a lot of artists should do. Even if there are people that inspire you, you should still have your own sound.
Yeah.
Right.
It makes you as who you are as an artist.
Yeah.
Well, I've learned that like wanting to be like the greats gives me those skills. So if it's a bass line that was on the Stevie Wonder song, I might learn it, and so now I have those skills, but I don't have to play like the guy. You know what I'm saying? Now I have those capabilities now, and I can milk that into my own, you know, subject matter or whatever the case is.
Okay, and so also with the album that you currently have, is there a particular name that you all came up with for the album?
I'll make this quick. There's a lot of story in there. Some of it you'll kind of hear when you hear the album. But we have two characters, which are real people.
Okay.
Mucus Mahoney and we have Cigarette Jones.
Okay.
Now, like part of the thing is like we have very serious songs, but on the other side of it, we have jokes. Okay. So like. Sometimes people will take a song like when we play Sex Doll and they'll like, what the hell are they talking about? But it's part of it is the joke. But anyway, so we have those two guys, and the album itself is going to be a concept album. One of our song titles is called The Adventures of Mucus Mahoney, and it's kind of an instrumental, and we kind of say his name, but otherwise it's an instrumental. And the song is going to be, or the album is going to be kind of an extension of that song. So like the first song that's gonna start is Adventures of Mucus Mahoney, and then from that we're gonna tell a story out of that with like both characters intertwined. So like long answer, I guess it's gonna be an interesting thing, and I think it'll be different for people to listen to. And I think the both of us are extremely proud of it. So.
Okay. So which musical platforms will people be able to find this album once it drops?
We'll have it on the Apple, we'll have it on Spotify, we'll have it on all that stuff. YouTube, absolutely, we'll have it on there. So that's a platform that any cheapo like me can like get on without having a subscription to anything. So that's got our live performances, which are a whole different experience. So the live performances are sick, but when you check out this new album coming out, like they'll be on the
it'll be on all the streaming stuff, and we'll also have we'll just have the CDs of the show and all that other stuff. But you can find it on Apple, and it was just basically WHOIARE.
One word.
It'll come up on it.
Okay. And also for any people locally to be able to find you at your next events coming up, or
yes, as far as our next shows, we have two in March. And I don't have my phone. I think it's March 4th. Yeah, we have one in Outpost. The first one's in Outpost.
Downtown Raleigh.
Which is a really cool place. We played there a couple times. And then also Second Wind in Carborough. So we have two of those. So our goal is to have one of those two possibly be the album release, or have the album release in April. So I think it's March 14th at Outpost and March 21 at Second Wind.
All right, and anywhere else that people may be able to find you on your sites?
Yeah, so
social medias?
Instagram, Facebook, at WhoIAre The Band, just spelled out, and both of those will come up, and then obviously YouTube as well.
And what's the name of the one for musicians, the musician community?
Oh yeah, the Reverb Nation.
Reverb Nation.
We're on there as well,
Reverb Nation.
And we're on Sonic Bids and all the other stuff. So. I mean, that's something we're trying to get better at personally, to be more in different places. But that's something obviously we're learning as we go.
Last question. Is there anything that you would like for the people to take away from WhoIAre as the band or your album?
that we're coming.
Yeah. I want people that, I guess, about this album to realize that even though we have our influences, like we spoke about, like this album is gonna sound different than anything anybody's ever heard. Like I said, we took a lot of time into it, a lot of sacrifice into this, and like you said, man, we coming, man. This one here is gonna be a different show. So
and basically come watch us play.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Okay. Anything else you want to say?
No, we're good.
You know?
Thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah,
All right.
absolutely.
It's been a great opportunity.
No problem.
and a
Thank you
great
for coming to
experience.
Tea Time with
Yeah.
Keith.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And y'all have a good one.
You too.
All right.